Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to Grandma's
Grandma's not
Not Right.
right.
We can't sync it.
Not when we're
Well,
doing it by this way.
no.
Someday,
Let,
like I said,
let's
we'll have a
let's do
professional
it.
studio.
Let's do it Jason's way. Grandma's not right. Ready?
Okay.
You start.
Oh, grandma's.
One, one, two,
What?
three.
Grandma's.
Not.
Right. I don't know what you're trying to do.
That's what I was trying to do.
Oh, okay.
That's Jason's way.
Like when he does his back and forth. That's what we should start with.
Yes.
I'm gonna start something off, and then we're gonna talk about why we don't let him do that anymore. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
This
Okay.
this used to be his comfort song with Aunt Wendy, me,
Yes.
and other people. Are you ready?
Yes.
Baba.
Black sheep.
Have you any?
Well,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
3 bags.
Full.
One for my
Doctor.
one for my
Dame.
one for the
Little boy
who lives.
in the lane.
Baba.
Black sheep.
Have you any?
Well,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
3 bags.
Full.
And in the end, like we would tap the whole time. And
Yep.
this mother lover in the end would go 3 bags full and slap the shit out
Bam!
of my hand. And I had to stop. But that was my fault because I would do that. Like I'd be like
Right?
the big ending and I'd go 3 bags full. I didn't
Yeah.
mean it. Then it just got out of hand. It escalated.
He got way out of hand. Yeah. And
Anyway,
originally
so
we stopped him from doing that because we wanted him to be more grown up in his greetings with people. So we've tried to kind of put that aside. So when he greets somebody, it's
right.
shake their hand, fist bump, and he's getting
And
better at that. But
and
with
also
you, he
oh
always wants to do blah blah black sheep or with
yeah, he
or
did
with
it when
mom.
when I was babysitting and I said, dude, I'll allow it because mommy's not
Yes.
here. You're out of
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
element and I'll just do it. Well,
That's
also
right.
because we didn't know it um if Baba Black Sheep was racist somehow. We
We
researched and
thought it
researched to
was,
make sure.
but we found out it wasn't.
No,
But not everybody knows that it's not. So I'm
yeah,
just like, yeah, we need to just cut that one.
right. But also master, one for my master, because master, they used to call the Europeans called each other master so and so.
Right.
I want to say, I don't know if they called him that Mary Poppins. I don't remember, but that was just kind of like a, little, Mr. or whatever term.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
still, it's uncomfortable because he did it in front of black people a couple times. And I'm like, son
And
of a,
and you never know who knows the real history of the song or even knows the song. They're just
what did
hearing
he
the
just
words being
say?
said. Yeah. So I was like, let's not
and
go
it,
there.
and it's childish. I get that. He's a
Yes.
32-year-old man. It's like, he's already special. We don't need to,
Yeah.
need to make it worse.
Exactly. Yep. So how was your week? Anything interesting
My week.
that you can share?
Um, Was it? Oh, yeah, because last Friday was the incident. I already talked about that. Gosh, oh my God, it's been a week. Dude. So nothing really happened. Everything's pretty normal. But on the way, on the way to this, I decided to eat in my room. And if I eat in my room, I used to have a tray, but the tray broke. So I would, I can't really do it that much anymore. But I have a little side table here that I had a plant on. I took the plant off and then I have all my stuff ready. I decided I was going to eat in here right up to this. And I guess because of the ADHD and it's somewhat, you have patterns that you always do things. I walked down the hallway by myself. I've lived here for 11 years and I've never had an incident walking down the hallway to my room like I said, the time I've lived here. So I had a bowl in my left hand and was just walking to the bedroom. And somehow my right hand decided to catch the door jam that's in between the bathroom and the bedroom out of nowhere and like tweaked my pinky as hard as it could
Oh,
out to the side like that. It was painful. I was like, no, are you kidding me? It's still sore. And then earlier today, when I was shutting the gate, you can't see because it's not a big bruise or anything, but right here in this part of the skin, I was closing the gate at school, the little lock pinched me right in that
oh
skin
no.
really hard. So I already had a pinch. And then so it's sore. I know it's going to be, it's just that my pinkies already struggle. Like once in a while we were doing sign language one day and I was showing the kids eye and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even, that hurts to try and straighten it out. So I know it's going to be really sore tomorrow and the next day, but it's just, what the, and that's because I changed one little thing I do. I've never walked down my hallway with a bowl of something to go eat in my room. So I guess that was enough for
It
my
was just
body to go, what the fuck? Now we got to put our right hand out for some unknown reason that's unnecessary to hit this door jam. Stupid.
wow.
Hey, when ADHD month comes around, which I think is in, I don't know when it is. Is it October or something? I'm not even kidding. Because one of the kids, as soon as I told him I had ADHD, no lie, the 13-year-old girl, she's like, she looks at the calendar and she goes, hey, do you know it's ADHD month? Isn't that for you, Miss Wendy? I'm like,
Oh,
geez.
wow. That's funny.
Yeah. So we'll go over all
Yes,
my isms that month.
we definitely will be.
Anyway,
So,
what about you, Seth?
remember how you asked me why our toilet handle went up and I never got to tell you why?
The toilet
The
handle.
flush handle on our toilet at my house
Yeah.
in my bathroom,
Yeah.
it goes up instead of down. And
I was like,
you asked me why, and I've never did tell you because I forgot. Here's what's funny.
okay.
First of all, we it we had to put in all new parts in that toilet because everything had just kind of fallen apart after 10 years. It
Right.
just fell apart. So we put new stuff in, right? Well, the part that was the handle, Mike put that in and I went in to check out his handiwork and I'm like, "Oh, it flushes up." I said, why is it like that?" And in my mind I kind of knew why, but I asked him, why is it like that?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I think it was made in Australia."
I have a comment about that, but go ahead.
But here's the real reason. And I knew this, but I didn't, I didn't know if he was joking with me or not. So I knew what the real reason was. It's because there's a left and a right handle. Some
What?
toilets
Okay.
come with the right and some come with the left.
I
So
didn't
he
know
bought
that either.
the
I didn't
wrong
think about that
one.
either.
He bought the wrong one, but installed it anyway.
But he came up with the Australia part. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, because
I'm proud of him.
they're on the
I'm
bottom
proud
of
of
the
him.
world. Their water goes the other way, so their handle has to go upside down.
I'm so proud of him.
What?
That's great. Mike
That,
made a great Mike made a great funny. That
that
is
was
good.
funny. Yeah.
That
Anyway,
is one of the best things I've ever heard come out of his mouth.
he tried so hard to pull that over on me, and I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute. No, no." Jason did not want to go to his day program this week.
Oh, okay, because he went last week.
He went all last
I
week,
mean
and
the
then he
week.
went on Tuesday this week. But
Okay.
then Wednesday and Thursday, he did not want to go. So
Interesting.
I don't know. So I contacted
Huh.
his caseworker and talked to the day center, and the day center doesn't care. They said, "Oh, he's fine. Let him take a little break, whatever he needs to
Okay.
do." But the caseworker, she's giving me all these other options, and none of them are really,
What are the options? I'm just
you know.
curious.
Well,
Oh yeah, if
one
you can't
is
talk about
send
it.
him to a different day center. And I'm like, it's not the day center that's the problem." I
Yeah.
said, "I think he just doesn't want to be away from me or his dad for some reason. It's like a
Yeah.
separation anxiety almost right now for some
Okay.
reason."
Yeah.
Um, and then she said, "Well, the other option would be uh, uh, um, a personal assistant. So like a a person that would come and pick him up and take him to do things in the community,
Oh,
you know?
okay, yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, well,
But they
maybe,
don't
but
know him.
I
Like, I
don't
get they're
know. That
trained for
makes
that,
me
but
so it makes me really feel uncomfortable,
I don't
you
think
know?
he'd like that. I don't think he'd like a stranger touting him around town, and that's not what he wants.
No.
That's just
So
my
I
opinion.
yeah, I don't know at this point what I wanna do. The problem is that, like, I had doctor appointments scheduled, dentist appointments scheduled, things like that. And
Oh.
now I have to Mike's gonna try to help, so I'm gonna work around
Yeah,
his
I
schedule,
wish I could
you know,
help.
but no, it's okay. But it's just that's the hard part. And then also that he won't entertain himself. He literally wants me to sit there with him
Such a dick.
and you know, he gets mad or upset or follows me around when I'm
Yeah,
doing things I need to do, and
right.
he wants my constant undivided attention. And he does not know how to just go entertain himself. Well, there's a few things he does entertain himself. Well, we won't talk about that.
No, we don't need to
Uh,
talk about that.
so anyway, that's the challenge too, is that
Ew.
he needs a social life, you know, or as close to one as that he can get, and it shouldn't be mommy.
No,
So
but that's what
that's
he wants.
I know, but that's the problem. He's got to develop some kind of social life. So we're working on some ideas. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Look on that.
But
That's
yeah.
gotta be tough. You know, you
So
like you said, you want to give him the world.
mhm.
They can't you don't want them to just sit around, even if it's what they want, but you don't want to force them. And so, like, I bet you just ping pong back and forth on what do you
Oh,
do? He's
yeah.
32, but I got to take care of him. I want him to be social. I want him to be used to people. I'm not going to be around forever, but then I don't want to force him to do something because then he's going to
Right.
resent me and he's not going to want to go. And so I can imagine there's got to be that back and forth a
Well, it's
lot.
also like, you know, he has to ask for everything, and he's
Oh, yeah.
32, and it's like, I want him to be independent. So but at the same time, if I just let him do stuff, like, he knows how to make a coffee drink now, okay?
That's so
But
funny.
he'll pour, like, the whole thing of cream in there. He
Oh,
won't just put a little bit in. It's like, "Oh, let's just fill up the whole cup," you know?
yeah,
Or if he forgets to put ice in, now it's hot, and he's not realizing this is just hot coffee right here. You know,
yeah.
so there's just all these little things. I can't let him totally do things by himself.
Right,
Um,
right.
and he can't have as many Cokes as he wants. It's like, I can't just let
Yeah.
you drink Diet Coke all day long, dude.
No,
I
that's what
have
we
to
talked
limit you.
about last week because
Yeah,
he if he gets rotten teeth, now he's got to go to the dentist and you got to deal with this kid having to get root canals. He's not and he
right?
has to put under or whatever, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
wow.
Anyway, so it's not tragic, and I'm really lucky because he's not like um some of the other people as
All
severe as
right.
he is.
Yeah.
He's not destructive, he's not dangerous,
Yeah.
you know. Um so I'm not going to complain about these things, but it's like I'm constantly trying to figure out how to help him live the best life he can without giving in to everything he wants, you know. So it's a challenge, but
And
you
I have
know.
to say on that note for the parents out there that um, you know, Jason was a handful at one time. I had a child that was a handful. So- and I see some of the parents and they're exhausted, when I told one parent,
Mhm.
"Oh, your kid's doing really good." I met them out to drop they were picking their kid up from the school and I I can only say so much because I'm not a teacher. I'm not anything but, a teacher's aide in their eyes. So I have to be really careful. And I'd say, "Oh, they had a really good day." And then the parent looked at me like just with this defeated, sour face and said, "Well, I'm glad she did good at school today." Kind of sarcastic. And I knew exactly
Yeah.
what she's talking about.
Oh yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, I go, "I'm so sorry." I said, "I understand." I said, I get that that must be exhausting. And if they only comply at school and not doing what they're supposed to do at home, I understand the frustration. And so I want her to know I recognized it, because I don't know how
Yeah.
many teachers or aides do that. I'm not saying they do or don't. I don't know. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know what they say. But
Yeah.
that's the thing, like, these parents are trying their best. Some parents are douchebags. We know that. They don't care. It's free babysitting. But
Right.
some parents, it's free babysitting because they honestly are at their wits' end and I just can't with this kid. I've got other kids or whatever's going on.
It,
I
yeah.
understand that, but you gotta fucking take part in your kids' lives. And that's the thing you have done. This was your last kid. It wasn't your first kid. This was your last kid. And yeah, you had more experience with kids by then, I guess. And you were older and you had been working with kids. So you had that advantage. And I get that not every parent does. But still, it's like you were dealt this card and it sucks. But that's it. You've got to either figure it out, research it. There, Google's free, man. Look it up and see
Yeah.
what you can do. But to be so soured and like poor me and my life's terrible and this kid, I went through that a little bit. Like, why did the universe choose me to have this kid? You know, but you get over it and
But
you
and it's
help
not
this
that,
kid.
I've boy, have I had my moments, and because I've cried to you
I
so
didn't
many,
judge.
but it was way harder in the early years than it is now. It's
Right.
so different now. There's really only one thing he does that makes things super challenging, and I can't talk about it because, anyway,
It's the
it's
thing that all
it's
men do. I'm
it's
sorry. I don't
it's
care who
nothing
you
that all
are.
men do, but most men have a filter where they know when and where they should do that thing.
Yeah, so we'll
And
leave it
my
at that.
son doesn't understand why he can't just do that wherever he wants.
Yes.
So teaching him where and when he can, he knows because he'll laugh and tattle on himself when he gets caught.
Right.
So he'll correct himself. So he knows, but it
Yeah.
doesn't stop him because I think it's an anxiety thing. Or
Mhm.
like if he's got, how you're excited about something that's coming up, like you're going to go somewhere or some activity, and you can't stop thinking about it. You're so excited, you can't wait for it to get here, that day to get here or whatever. I think that's kind of what's going on. And
Okay.
so the only way for him to release that anxiety is to do
Yeah.
things like that or the
Yeah.
hysterical laughing. Um, I have a recording that I'm going to share.
Oh my God, I
Hopefully,
love
I'll
it.
remember to do this, but I have a recording I'm going to share, so I'm going to put it
Okay.
right here that Mike took of him hysterically laughing. We still don't know what he was laughing at, but it was so funny, he had us rolling. So I'll share that right now.
Thank you.
Wow.
What are you laughing at?
Thank
What?
you.
You're yucky.
Thank you.
It is. It is.
But you're still gonna laugh?
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
So-
And when he does that, it's like you you have to laugh with him because it's hilarious, but I
yeah.
don't know it's like hysterical. He can't stop. The problem is sometimes he'll start doing it at the dinner table when he's got his mouth full of food.
Right.
And it's like, dude, not only are you spitting food all over the rest of us and all the food that's sitting here on the table, but you're going to end up choking, you know? So it's these little things that he just goes off on. And I'm trying to figure out
Well,
how to.
and then, well, the noise, I just remember, I know when I lived with you, like his sayings change. That's what's funny too, is
Yeah.
they're just like the rest of us where we change with our little catchphrases, we see a show or something. Well, whatever sparks his interest, his little
Right.
catchphrases change also. Cause I remember like when I was living with you guys in like 2018-ish or whatever, and he would be like, cozy. Not that he
Yeah.
doesn't say it anymore, but it was just a big thing, cozy. And I'm like,
Mhm.
ew, Jason, how cozy are you? I'd mess with him and just say,
Right.
I just say stuff like, I don't know if he
Yeah.
registered it. I'm like, don't get too cozy next to me, and so we'd make jokes and
Right.
but yeah, I mean, he goes through these words and
Yeah.
phrases, and it's good that I think it's great that he changes them because that is showing his growth and maturity, a little
Right.
bit.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I love when he laughs. He's got a really, really sweet
he
laugh.
does. And when it's
Funny.
full on, man, his whole face lights up and It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. So, but it's interesting too. You remember how fast he could run as a young kid?
Yeah, dude.
You could hardly catch him, and he was very agile, very coordinated.
Never
Um,
like fell down.
he was fearless, and he would do all these things. Now, as an adult, it's like watching an old man try to do things. So I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, we missed the ball as far as getting him to maintain his physical abilities.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly trying to introduce activities that bring
Yeah.
some of that back for him.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, not all is lost because the muscle memory's there from when he was a child, but also, I'm only going to say this once. You can cut it out if you like, but you only had so much control, and definitely don't fault yourself because how much can you do within maybe you're lucky you had a good 24-hour period over a weekend that you could do stuff. And there's so much other stuff you had to do with him. And so we don't need to get into
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
you only had so much control. So when you say we dropped the ball, yeah, no, I'm not going to go for that. There's no we in that, but that's all I'll say about it.
Well, we're
But
all kind of
now you've got
trying
it.
to, yeah, trying to get
So
him, a little more uh active. So, um, but I was thinking back on those early days, uh, when we started bringing Jace to the gym, and you and I had when we worked at the Y, so before Jason and Miranda even came along, you and I working at the YMCA together, we had a lot of kids come through the door that had all different kinds of uh disabilities or
oh yeah.
delays or uh different wiring, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And we noticed that, and we also knew from child development classes that if they worked on certain things, especially crawling, anything that was hand-eye coordination, jumping and catching the bar,
Right.
all of those little things, um, and then stepping up and jumping off of things, skipping, running, galloping, all of those things. That locomotive stuff really helped them to develop other skills that they weren't doing yet. And I remember
Right.
we would have talks about how odd it was that there were kids who could not skip and could not jump with 2 feet.
Cheryl, it's still the same. Now that I'm still been in the gym, that's another story for another day, but I'm like, whoa.
Mhm.
And it's always the kids that when I get to know them and then I realize, oh, this doesn't surprise me that this kid doesn't know how to skip because they're either all over the place
Yeah,
or there's like a developmental disability that I know and they're like they're moving way too slow and they're way too unaware for their age group, and I'm like, oh, this kid, and it could be FAS, it could be a lot of things,
right.
but it's yeah, it's still happening.
And you were in your early 20s
Yeah.
and I was in my late 20s
Right.
or maybe in my early 30s. But anyway, I mean, I feel like at that point where we started realizing the connection, and we had I remember there was one girl that was maybe 5 or 6, and she was real thick. She wasn't necessarily overweight. She was overweight, but it was more of that remember she had some kind of an arthritis condition.
Yes.
And she could hardly really move her legs. I mean, she couldn't run, and we finally got her to jump with 2 feet off of a little folding mat, and I just remember what a big deal that was to her, and then we got her to walk across the floor beam. She couldn't
Right.
do that either.
Yeah.
So, those tiny little milestones that you would help a kid hit in those
Yeah.
days were the
Definitely.
most meaningful times, at least for me,
Yeah.
far outweighing somebody getting their back handspring. I mean, it was like that was
That's how I always
exciting
felt too.
because you
Yeah.
know how much they wanted it, but
Yeah.
it was like just the knowing what that did for that kid to be able to finally jump off of something, with 2 feet. So in that process, we started to think about the connection and trying to research it, right? And we knew there were a lot of studies that we knew connected movement education with remedial skills.
Right.
We already knew there was that
Yeah,
connection.
I learned that in the 80s that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
hand-eye coordination had everything to do with reading ability. We
Right.
knew that in the 80s. That was 1985 or 86, 87.
Yeah. Crawling and climbing and
Yeah.
um, all of those other body coordination, locomotive skills, and so on.
Which can I say, we learned that when we went to gymnastics seminars. I want to say was it USAIGC or
Well, I don't know if you went with me to any of the ones from the YMCA,
I
but
swear I went to one, but I don't remember. It's been so
I went
long.
to quite a few of those, and the YMCA training was excellent. It put all that together for me.
Yeah.
But we probably
Or
did
I
get
learned it
some
from you.
the others. Well, no,
Yeah.
we went to seminars together where we learned about that. But
Yeah.
I think when Jace came along, um, and he went through occupational therapy because he wasn't crawling yet. And before they diagnosed him with autism, he was in therapy for trying to get him to walking stage. And I'm watching them do the occupational therapy, and I take him to this place for these sessions, and I'm thinking, this is the same stuff we do with our pre-gym.
I do remember that. I remember us talking about that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? You told me about it. Yeah.
Everything they were doing with him is exactly the stuff we do in pre-gym.
Going
So,
upside down, spinning
right,
around,
spinning,
jumping,
rolling,
skipping.
walking on balance beams, playing in the ball pit, you
Right.
know, all of that stuff, holding on a bar and swinging, everything we were doing. So I'm thinking, okay, they're doing all this therapy and why don't I'm just going to take him to the gym and have him do these things at the gym because we had to bring our kids with us anyway. So it was like
Right.
a lot of time he was just at the gym with us and his sisters would
Yeah.
babysit him, but he'd be out playing when we were cleaning or whatever. Yeah. So we started to notice, oh, well, and then we found out too, um, Shane, that was his name, the kid at Jesse's,
I
the
was going
daycare
to
thing.
say that. I was going to
Shane,
say that. Thank you. I was going to tell you that and text you after and go, I think it was, I don't want to say the names, but I mean the
right.
last name, but I swear his sister was one of our gymnasts
I
because
think
I took her
so.
home once and I know where they lived. And then one day I drive by and then I think he passed away actually.
Oh, did he?
They had to eventually put him in a facility.
Right, right.
And then I met up with her like at the local gym here. I think it was Powerhouse or something. And she was telling me, oh, I go, how you'd been doing, and hey, how's that brother? And she goes, oh, we had to take him to a facility and eventually, I don't know how. I swear that's what she told me. I don't remember. He may not have passed away, but that's in my mind of what I thought.
Yeah.
But they did have to set because he was too
Yeah, I
much.
remember
They
that.
couldn't
He
handle him.
he he became a little violent and stuff too.
Yeah, it was so
But
sad.
my point of bringing him up, and we talked about this a little last week, was that he would sneak in and play on our tumble track,
Yeah.
which is like a trampoline for you viewers. And
It's a long
we
trampoline.
trying to get him out of there. We knew there was because of Jason, I kind of knew now what the deal was, even though my son was only like maybe 6 at the time.
Yeah.
But this big kid who's bigger than me,
He was
how am I
probably
going to get him
11
out
or
of the
12.
room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and we would hold his hands and we'd jump with him just for a few minutes, and we'd go jump, 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 please jump, or whatever. And I just remember at one point he went "Buh," or like some kind of single syllable,
Yeah.
like he was trying to ask us to jump more.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we told his mom about it, and then she was just like blown away because she said he's never ever tried to speak ever any word,
Right.
and so that's kind of those little moments, light bulbs would
Right.
go off for us, right? And we're thinking, wow, there's something to this. So then, yeah, we started working with Jason on different things, but then did we started doing the swinging with him, didn't we?
I can't remember when that came about. If
Or
it
did
was,
we do that in pre-gym or so? I don't know, or
well,
mommy and me classes or
because we did acro, I think we were doing it so much at acro, and then when we would have time at the end of pre-gym, and we kind of threw it out there one day to just our regular, 3-year-old, whatever, to 5-year-old classes, and we'd
right,
grab them by the hand, and then when we gently would swing them, if they could hold on to our wrists, we
right.
would swing them higher. But if they couldn't hold on, we didn't want to jack
Just
their
a
elbows
little,
out of their
yeah.
sockets, and we would swing them, and yeah, and Jason, he would laugh his ass off every
Oh,
time we
he
do that.
loved it. He
Oh my
wanted, and
gosh.
didn't he learn to say? Yeah, I want to
He
say
learned to
he
say
learned
more. He'd say more, and he knew to
more.
sign. You taught him more.
Yeah,
I
he
remember
was
that.
signing more. Yeah, all
Yeah.
constantly. But then, so
I think,
we
wouldn't he say like ma
yeah,
p, like something like that?
yeah, swing please. But it was because he
I
used to
don't
say
know.
bite please. He learned to say bite please before he learned anything else because he wanted more ice cream. Ice cream is how he
Okay.
first learned to talk. He would go puppy, puppy.
That's
He wanted
right.
a bite. So,
He probably
um,
said like swing. It was probably something dramatic because of the way he
it
talked
was
was so
like
adorable.
I don't remember, but it was just
Oh man.
he could only do like monosyllabic. It was like he
Oh
just
yeah,
one
that's
syllable,
true.
"M," you know. Um,
He loved
so
that swinging though.
so we kind of started realizing that this was a thing, that this was a
Yeah.
thing. And then we I think it was before we started the STAR class, I think is when we went to that USAIGC oh no. We read an article in USA Gymnastics magazine about Gene Herwin in LA, UCLA.
Oh,
He was a
that
gymnastics
does
coach,
sound familiar.
but he also was an occupational therapist, I think.
Okay.
And the article was about the importance of vestibular stimulation, sensory stimulation in children with autism. And he talked about this program he was doing with kids through UCLA.
Okay.
And we're like, oh my gosh, everything he's talking about is exactly what we've been thinking and what we've
Yeah.
been trying
I,
with kids in our gym.
I barely remember that.
And then when we went to the UCLA, when we went to the USAG
Congress.
conference, he was there doing classes on it. So we got to talk to him afterward and explain the situation, talked about our son and all that. And he said, I'm looking for people to kind of do like franchise almost of what he's doing,
Right.
And we kept thinking about doing that. But I think at the time it hadn't got off the ground, or they wanted too much money, or our gym was not appropriate. I don't remember the reason we didn't do it. But I
Yeah.
do remember we went ahead and started our own program
Yes, we did.
called Sensory Stimulation through Acrobatic Recreation, the STAR classes,
Yep.
and we offered it for no charge.
TM in case we bring it back. TM.
Yeah.
Don't steal it, people. We got
Well,
the paperwork to prove it.
there's a couple programs with the same SSPAR out there.
Oh,
Not
fuck.
necessarily what we were doing, but anyway.
All right.
I have a mosquito bite on the back of my neck, so that's why I keep
Ew.
scratching it. There's like a little mosquito bite back
Hey,
there.
by the way, I don't know if you
Put
can
my
hear,
hair
but
up.
apparently there's sirens and a helicopter.
I
I
can't hear it.
swear. Okay, we always get it like at least like a couple times a year in this neighborhood.
We started that STAR class and we had tons and tons of kids, all different ages, come in.
Yep.
And there were a few that were like my son. They were nonverbal. They would scream when you come near them or touch them.
Yeah.
And I remember one in particular that we started swinging. And after a few times of swinging, he stopped screaming. And I want to say he's one of the ones that started to actually ask to swing. Like he'd go, sweet
Oh, right.
Pete, sweet Pete, that we
Yeah.
taught them to ask to swing
Mhm.
so that they could interact with us and what we were saying and connect it with the activity.
Right.
And it was just so rewarding.
I don't know if this is true, but I swear I remember Jason like laying down in between us and putting his legs up. Like
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
just remember him doing
Yes.
that. Is that
Yes,
right?
he
Like
would. Yes.
scrambling, like move your
Yes.
legs up, swing.
As often as
So
he
cute.
could,
But he'd always do
he'd been
this.
there.
but
Yep,
his hands
yep,
were always like this.
yep, more, 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 more.
Oh, Jason, it
That
was
was
so
so sweet,
cute.
yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, in making those little discoveries, we were able to open up a whole new world for so many kids and parents. It was very exciting.
Well, and let
Um,
me, if I can, because I know you can explain it, but just because it's in my head and it's probably
mhm,
bursting to get out. So we had a 10,000 square foot facility. The actual workable space for the actual gym was not that much. Just because I think that was like maybe 7,000 of it, or
probably,
maybe
yeah.
8,000. And so we had a big full floor, like the competition floor you see in the Olympics. We had a full floor like that. And then we had a smaller floor for just our pre-gym program, the 3 to 5 year olds, but also the trampoline was there. We had the 20-foot long tumbling trampoline. We had everything.
We had everything,
We
yeah,
had everything. Plus, we are entertainers and circus freaks. So we had every prop known to man in that gym. Anything that could be a prop was a prop, whether it was balls, beanbags, noodles, all the regular stuff that everybody else has. Stick ribbons. I don't think we had musical instruments per se, but we probably would if we would have thought of it. We had every football, baseball, basketball kind of we remember those purple and teal stuffed
yes,
basketballs we had. Yeah.
yes,
So we had so many different things and textures at that place. And what we did was it was on a Friday night. And I want to say it was from like 6 to 7:30 or something like that.
yeah,
Right it sandwiched in. And we did not charge for it. Let me repeat, we did not charge for this class. It was
right,
absolutely free. It was a sensory class for anyone. We didn't have any requirements. There was nothing. You just had to sign the waiver and boom. It could, and we intended for it was a parent to bring their kids so they can enjoy the night doing an activity with their kid. Okay,
mhm,
you're going to bring the whole family. That's great. The brothers and sisters come. And then we'll get to that in a minute. But just as far as the structure of the class, we knew that they wouldn't want to just come and sit down and do a circle time before they were released. We knew that
right,
these kids, it's open gym time. And then at some point we would say, I think it was towards the end, maybe. I don't
yeah,
remember. I just feel like I think we thought it's too hard to get them to do it in the beginning. So we would at some point say, hey, parents, we're going to do a circle time, whether you want to do it or not, or you can get them. Don't worry about it. We're going to do it. And we'd have them come and sit down in their little spots, and
right,
then we would do whatever stretches and the table and this whatever the Humpty Dumpty roll back and all that. So we do all of that stuff. Then we'd release them and let them play, and then we come together in the end and do like the parachute. Every time was the parachute, and then we do a bye bye song, and then they were out. And I know we had a coach. We had one coach. He was a male coach. He was the best coach, one of the best coaches we've ever had. He was just
yes,
phenomenal with these kids. I think we paid him though, and he probably would have volunteered his time, but I think we asked him to stay and we paid him. It was an hour and a half, and he would help all those kids. But the
yeah,
problem was, we had skills charts too. That's the thing I wanted to mention. We had skills charts that the kids would check off as they did skills.
right,
And I say we, but you did most of the brainstorming for that because you knew what they needed mostly for sensory because of Jason and stuff. But it was a fantastic program. But
mhm,
then what happened was people were having respite workers. If you don't know what that is, that's someone who comes with instead of the parents. It's like a babysitter, but a babysitter that takes them out and does stuff with them, whether it's going
right,
shopping or it's like you said earlier, it's like almost like their own little personal one-on-one assistant.
right,
Well, the problem was parents started sending them instead of the parents. I get it. You want to be off on a Friday for a couple of hours. I get that. But then the workers would sit around while
mhm,
we were supposed to be lifeguards, watching everything, and hey, I'll help you with this. Let me help you with that. But then it became like we were supposed to do everything, and the respite workers are sitting around talking. The parents are sitting around talking, and now we're watching 20 kids and trying to keep them safe and not. So it just got to be where everybody took advantage, and we had to stop doing it. It wasn't even,
yeah.
it just, they,
And
and then they would not show up, and then they'd be like,
bringing
I know.
their other kids.
Oh, and the kids, yeah,
They
the
brought the
siblings. Yeah.
older brother siblings, and or younger siblings. And so now you've got a gym full of kids that are not following the rules, not listening to us, that are creating too much energy and chaos for the
Right.
kids that we were focusing on.
Right.
And yeah, they just took advantage of us, unfortunately.
But it was a great program. And then you can talk about see, because I think we started it in the small gym because KVCR did come out when we were in the first gym, the gym over by
Oh yeah,
that
we
was
did
on
start it
Amigos.
in on Amigos
We did.
at
I
Redlands.
just
Yeah,
realized that
you're
because
right.
that's when
You're
what was her
right.
name? Lillian Vasquez from KVCR
Yes.
came out because her son was in our class. And she
Yes.
did a special spotlight on us, and we were so proud of ourselves and
Yes.
our program. We done good, sis. We done
We
good.
did. We did. And I think that it helped stimulate a lot of it's like it planted seeds in parents' head as to things that their
What
kids
their
were capable
capabilities?
of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so that they
yeah,
would be more hopeful in trying things with their kids. So I mean, it's amazing when we're just being ourselves
yeah,
and just trying to have fun with kids,
yeah,
how much we naturally discover that work wonders for them. And as parents, it's hard to see that with your own children because you're so busy being a parent that you
right.
just don't see it. But when you're with
Yeah.
other kids, for some reason, it's just different.
Well, it's like with that, like I said earlier, that mom that was so defeated, and she's like, "Yay, that my kid's being great at school."
Yeah,
They want them to not be a-holes at home and not doing whatever they're
right.
doing. So it's sad because if those kind of parents could have been in a class like ours and see that there are people out there who want to help, and
Yeah,
there's things for them to do, but we also know how hard that is. And no discounting any other gyms that do or don't do this. If you're not equipped or you don't know, like I know a gym owner that has a sibling that has autism, and so she's more apt to know how to do that, and to
right.
work with special needs, and people in her family would know how to do that. But not every gym's equipped. Just because you want to start
Mhm.
a what do you call it, oh gosh, Special Olympics program. We talked about that for years, but we knew that we could not add any more on our plate. There's a
Right.
part of me now that when I'm working with these kids at the school, I'm like,
I know.
man, I
I
kind
keep
of
thinking
regret that we
about it,
didn't do
but
it.
I keep thinking about it, but we'll
Yeah.
talk about that later because I was gonna talk with you about something that I was thinking of.
Oh
Anyway,
boy.
it's I I think back on that STAR program and I'm so proud of what we
Yeah.
achieved with that.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could have kept Jace enrolled in something like that throughout his life, to keep him physically fit. Because now I'm having to go back and try to get him physically fit again. And,
Yeah. And he
it's a
doesn't
huge
want to.
challenge. He's 6'2" and he only weighs 185.
Yeah.
So that's not bad for being
No,
6'2".
that's pretty average. I mean,
Pretty close. But he's built like, um,
I'm five
uh,
two and three quarters, and I'm just gonna say I'm in close range of that weight. And so I'm like, he's fine.
he's built like, I'm trying to, I want to say
Sorry, my
Hotep,
nose.
which is the one that had the elongated face.
Who are you talking about?
Which Egyptian pharaoh had the elongated face?
I don't know. You're the one who knows all that shit. You're the
Uh,
smart one.
I
I
I
am the
I want to
follower.
say Amenhotep, but I don't think that's right. I think it's a different one. Anyway, the one that has the long elongated face and that is the only pharaoh depicted with a big pot belly and a sunken chest. Just
He doesn't have a
this
pot
this
belly.
weird womanly figure. So I
The thing
tease and
is, that
I
is a weird way when you figure.
he's
You're a douche.
no, I'm just saying he's so out of shape. I mean, he's not overweight
I know what you
necessarily,
mean.
but he's completely out of shape. And I'm like, dude, I got to get you in shape. This is shameful. We're a
I'll tell you
fitness
what,
family.
he's got the best resting bitch face though of a man I've ever seen.
Oh, I'll have to pop up a painting I did of him
A
right here.
resting scowl face, I guess, for a
It,
man. He's not
it's
a
it's a
bitch.
painting I did of him as a student, as an art student. I had to try to do paintings, portraits of him and Mike.
Okay, I see
And I
what you're
had to do a
saying.
quick, it had to be quick. It was like I only had so
Oh.
many minutes to do it in, right?
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
I did one of Jay's. I'll pop it up here because that is the face you're talking about. So
Look at Chase.
yeah.
His scowl.
Oh, his
Hey,
little
that's
scowl.
I don't know, you could tell that story. This I don't know if he told the story about him being in the grocery store and the scowl. The scowl that almost got his ass kicked and Mike almost had to kick someone's
Oh,
ass.
oh yes, I do remember. Oh my gosh.
I know that's a side journey. I don't know if that's something we want to leave
That's
for
a
another
little,
day, but
that's all right. We'll go on a little side journey real quick here.
okay.
So yeah, Mike took Jason, they went to the grocery store together. And the story Mike
Desert
tells
Hot
me
Springs. We need
in
to
Desert Hot
clarify
Springs.
Desert Hot Springs.
Yes. So, and it was like the first year we were here, I think. We hadn't been here long. Anyway, but they went to the grocery store. It was a Stater Brothers here in town. And the way Mike tells it is they were walking down the aisle. I think Jace was pushing the basket or holding the basket or whatever. And Mike was a few feet away looking at what he wanted to get. And all of a sudden he turns around and he sees this guy shorter than Jason. Probably, I want to say the guy was maybe in his late 20s, let's say. Maybe Jason's age or a little older. And he had tattoos and he had shaved head and looked like your typical like uh white uh
Aryan brother.
Aryan brother. Yes, he had that vibe going, right?
WT. I'm sorry,
And he's
WT.
like, doing the whole body move, going up to Jason, glaring at him, and like
Like,
he
you
was,
got a problem, bro? You got
yeah,
a
like
problem,
gonna
bro?
choose him off, right? And Mike's like, "Hello," I can't remember what he said. Something like, you know, "Hey, what's going on over there? What's up? What's up?" He's like, "He's mad dogging me, man. You don't mad dog me," or whatever it was he said. And Mike said, the guy has autism and has absolutely no interest in you and probably doesn't even see you as a human or something. And Mike was like, "You're stupid." He goes, "Well, you need to just make sure he knows not to mad dog people, man." And he turns around and walks away.
What a
But
douche.
Mike can be very intimidating when he's angry.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, because Jason has this look he gets on
He
his
goes like
face, and
this.
sometimes he goes like this, yeah, and sometimes he will stare at people, but it's not because he's looking at the person. He might be looking at some dot on your shirt.
He doesn't give two shits about who you are, what your
He,
personality's
he
like.
doesn't. If he doesn't know you, you're an object. You're
Yeah.
not a human being. He
And
doesn't
that's the
care.
most autistic people. That's how they see you. Is like, I'm not saying they don't have
You're
caring
just
or
something in
love or
my
anything. That's just,
way, Yeah.
yeah.
So, um,
Or it could be of interest. He may look at that guy's tattoos and be like, it's an
you never know.
observation, like a 2-year old. A 2-year old's gonna look and be honest. That person's got drawings all over them, mommy. So he
Yeah.
doesn't say it. He thinks it. He's like, wow,
Right.
that fucker's got shit all over his skin. What the fuck is that? But he can't say it, so he just looks at you like,
But he's just staring at you like,
yeah,
what is that? Yeah.
he doesn't
So those
know.
are the things that happen when we're out and about. People, because he doesn't look different from anyone. So until he opens his mouth or he does something that's total Jason, you wouldn't know. So of course somebody would think, he's glaring at me. I'm gonna go, that's right. No filters, man.
I know they have to learn, and we've talked about that. That's another subject, but just and that kind of ties in back with the gym because I did want to talk about um for those who don't know, I'll just give the thing, we had a gym we taught 25 years ish together. Excuse me. Excuse me again. You stepped out in 2012 because you had to get a regular job because, oh, the gym, you must make a lot of money having a gymnastics studio. Well, you'd think that, but we didn't do that well for a long time. And so you had to go and get a job. And I was not ready to retire. And I'm like, I want to keep going. And that's a whole other thing we can talk about, another gym thing of how you get attached to something and it defines who you are and blah, blah, blah. Then anyway, so then I kept going until about 2016 when I was said, nah, I guess I'm done. But then I went back. So I took a little break. I still taught some private lessons here and there and my relatives and stuff. So, I still have my hand in it. I did some choreography for a high school that was doing a musical and stuff. So I kind of kept my hand in it over the years. But then I needed a job after COVID, and I'm like, I really should just go back to gymnastics. That's what I know. So then I went back and worked for the girl that we sold the gym to. And since that time, that was 2001, fall of 2001. And I noticed, and again, the owner has a sibling that has special needs, so she knows special needs. And we never let kids in the class if they couldn't follow the directions. It didn't matter if you were ADHD. My son has ADHD. Your son had autism. Even it didn't matter. We've had kids that were blind. We had kids that were deaf. We had kids that had cerebral palsy. If they could do the class safely, take their turn, not run across the floor, whatever it was. I don't care if you're 2 in a 4-year-old class or you're 6 in an 11-year-old class. Like, you know what I mean? Like we prided
Yeah.
ourselves on ability and able to follow directions. So now it's like we actually have had kids come in and they would tell me, "Hey, we know you know how to handle this. So here's this autistic kid that's going to be in your class." I'm like,
Great.
"Oh, all right, thanks for that."
Right?
No, which is fine. I get it. But so of course I go into mode of whatever happens, happens. I gotta just do this. And there was a girl, and at first it was tough. She'd yell. If I said good job, she'd go, no, good job. And I said, thank you. She goes, no, thank you, which probably was left over from school because I'm sure
Yeah.
school, they're like, thank you or no, thank you. And the kids are like thinking that's a punishment. I don't know. That's another thing we can get into another time. But I was questioning myself, thinking, okay, this girl did do okay. If she was not being able to do it, her mom even said, if she's not doing it, send her to me.
Right.
But not all parents are like that. And one time, probably 15 years ago, when we were still working together, we told somebody their kid couldn't be in the class because it wasn't working out. They're running across the floor. They're going to get hurt. And we also had a super small gym at the time. They've extended since then. They have a bigger gym. And so it was a really tight fit. So someone went on Yelp and said, they don't cater to special needs kids. And everyone who
Oh,
knew us laughed at that Yelp review because it was
yeah.
like, are you fucking kidding? Like, and then everybody went to bat for us and said they had an actual special needs program. So you don't even know. So I guess it was like, my point is just that I was questioning myself, why didn't we allow kids, blah, blah, blah. And then I had to think, okay, everyone's had to grow with the idea of autism.
Yeah.
People like the guy in the store that growled at Jason, the guy at the store that said he was mad dogging him. You've had all these experiences taking the French fries off the trays and people all disgusted by his behavior. Someone needs to teach that kid some manners, whatever. But everyone now goes, oh, that kid probably has autism, like all your regular armchair, analysts. But they
Experts.
do know, like they know, oh, that kid's
Yeah.
different. And
Yeah.
there's a little more forgiveness. They don't just go, fuck that kid, and you need to teach him a lesson. More people now. And I think that's what the gym too. Like, yeah, we couldn't let them do it before because no one's told that kid no, because the parents are like, I don't want to tell this kid no. I don't know what to do. He's special.
Right.
But now we
Right.
know you can absolutely tell that kid no if they're in danger or they're endangering somebody else. So anyway, that was my whole
Also,
tangent.
I
I
think a
just
lot
wanted
of
to
kids too
that
at
out.
this point have gone through years and years of behavior modification. The behavior modification programs, um,
That's
you know,
controversial too. ABA
oh, it
therapy.
is. ABA is, yeah. But what applied behavioral analysis, though, is that ABA is, they're going to study you and figure out, why are you doing certain behaviors? What
Right.
triggers them? Blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And then what is the best method to help you curtail those behaviors? And so then you're applying what you learned in the analysis in the behavior modification.
Right.
But when we were first starting this adventure, it had just been introduced, behavior modification. There were so many different therapies out
Oh
there, and
yeah.
that one was just one of many. But now that a lot of people have had their kids go through that,
Not
I
just
think,
autism, there's ADHD and other
oh
other
yeah.
things
But
too.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying is I think that that they've gone through enough early intervention at this point that they're able to follow rules a little bit better. I think when we were first starting out, a lot of these kids had never been involved in anything. So to have them sit still in a class or follow directions,
Right.
Jason wouldn't
Right.
have. There's no
Yeah.
way he would have. I
Yeah.
could hardly get Lauren to when she would go to circus classes and stuff. Her ADHD, she was like my second oldest daughter. When we did circus classes and she was 5, I want to say 4 or 5, she could not sit still in class. She could not stop talking. She was all over the place. It was frustrating
I
for me.
forgot about that. I'm like, what? She
Yeah.
was? Oh yeah.
And I
Dear.
mean, of course she grew up within a year she was fine. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's something that, now it seems like a lot of kids, once they understand what you expect of them, they slowly
Right.
get into the groove.
Yeah.
But it's a dangerous sport for kids who are not paying attention and not following rules.
Yeah, like I said, this girl
So,
just walks across the beam like no problem. And I'm like, okay, you do have to have some fear, but her mom knows. See, that's the thing.
right.
Her mom knows, and that's great, but some parents don't, and they expect miracles. And if you can't produce miracles or they get hurt, then
Yeah.
they're all, oh, how did you
Yeah.
let this happen? It's like, look, man, you knew how it was going to be going in, that this is
Yeah.
outside the box. They're outside the box.
Yeah.
You can't expect miracles. Now, I know you talked about the why. I had a girl that when I was 19 or 20, whatever, and this mom approached me and said, "Hey, um, my daughter that sees her brother in pre-gym, he's like 3. She wants to do gymnastics, and the girl had spina bifida. She was in a wheelchair. She could walk with crutches. Her legs were atrophied a little. They were real tiny legs. She was about 9 or 10, and I was strong as shit then. Both of us were. I was strong as
Right.
shit back then, and this girl, I lifted her from dead weight from the floor, because she was heavy for, she was only 10, but her upper body was solid from her pulling herself up all those years. Her arms were super strong. I put her on that bar and she could do like a chin up and then she could pull over. It was just the hard part was because her legs were atrophied. She couldn't, like, she had to really flop them over, but she could do it. And I got that girl to do stuff. She did rolls, whatever. She could
Right.
swim. I got invited to their house. That is a long story, but I went and that girl sat on the diving board and like jumped up and down till she jumped off the end of the diving board. And I was, I'm only 20 something. I'm like, oh my God, this kid can't even move her legs. But her mom's, she's fine. We're sitting by the poolside. The kids just swimming with their arms. And I think back, like you said, we
Yeah.
had blind kids. Like I had a blind kid and I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to the springboard. Now jump. And she jumped. Now she didn't stay long, that girl, but that was an experience for her. She did
Yeah.
gymnastics.
Yeah.
We've had other kids too, but it's just, wow, like, it's so different. And now you see them on Instagram, these kids like amputees. Cause we had the one girl named Lefty, and she was an
Uh-huh.
amputee that everybody knew about in the gymnastics community. And now I just got Instagram the other day about like a whole group. They like did a montage of all these kids jumping from the low bar to the high bar. And they've got one hand on
Right.
the bar and their other arm, like, on. And I'm like, go. And they're just doing it. And they're kind of falling into it. They're falling into their kips, but it doesn't matter. Like they're doing it and it's freaking
Doing it. Yeah.
awesome. And I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
it's a neat time for stuff like that. And these autistic kids who are,
Mhm.
or
It is.
mainstreaming into classes. So you're right. I did feel bad at first, like, guys, should we have done that? But then I realized, dude, it wasn't the right time. We did the right thing
Right.
for
There's
our time.
right. Because and that I think the same thing is happening with the the spellers. They call the spellers. And I think
Oh
that
boy.
we're going to start seeing actual scientific proof that they are doing what their parents are saying they're doing. So just
Yeah.
watch for that. And they
Yeah.
call them the spellers because they use a letter board to spell things out. Um, I think that we're going to see a huge deal, a huge turnaround with that um,
And the
in
petty
the
person I
coming
am is
years.
like, a lot of you are going to be eating crow, bitches. Just kidding.
I'm
Look,
saying
I
it the
don't want
nice
people
way.
to. Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like,
No, I
they
know.
act like they're going to
Yeah.
lose their jobs because all these kids are doing something. Guess what? As we change, technology changes, AI changes.
Yeah.
ki- So maybe they're going back to something that you didn't foresee, or maybe there's a great awakening. We don't know why it's happening, but would you try to diminish it and stop it?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just, and we could, I think we could do a whole, I think next week we should do a whole subject matter on therapy and all of the tools and talk about the tools
Okay.
and just all that business. That's my
Sure.
vote. It's my vote.
I think that's a good idea. And then I also want to show some video of Jace, some current videos of him where he is today and what's going on with him. But
Yeah.
um I'm going to show it- just one last point
Yes.
on the vestibular stimulation, the sensory stimulation. When my son could not crawl yet, he wasn't crawling. And we lived in a small house that was kind of dark. There weren't windows like facing where the sunlight was. So it was like certain times of the day, you just weren't, there was no sunlight. It was just kind of
Is that the
dark.
Avenue D?
The Avenue E.
Oh, Avenue. Oh, Avenue
And
E.
so when Jace was first born, when he, as an infant and as a toddler, when we first was diagnosed, well, not even diagnosed yet, when he first started having seizures, he wasn't crawling and he really stopped progressing once they put him on the medication. Anyway, the last year we lived there, the last few months we lived there, Mom bought that spinner for Jace.
We called it the
And
space saucer or something. I don't know. We call it
yeah,
something.
it was
I
it was a
loved it.
it was a round activity tray that had a seat that would spin. And he got spinning so fast on that thing, it was insane. And so I'm going to pop this video up and show you.
The spinner video. Yes, we'll check it out.
So what the thing about that is we had that spinner, he started using it, and it's like he started getting on his hands and knees and rocking a little more. And I started to think, I wonder if that has anything to do with it, because it's like maybe the spinning is he likes it. Maybe it's doing
Right.
something, to his brain. But I still didn't know there was any science to it, right? So then when we moved to the big house, we moved to this huge 2-story house that was really light and it had stairs. And he started crawling up and down the stairs. And then he had all the sunlight and he was playing outside, sitting, outside with us in the grass and whatnot. And he went from not even being able to crawl to being able to walk, run, and go up and down those stairs on his feet within a year.
Yeah.
And I believe it was that spinner.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because that's kind of where our heads started to go, well, there's something to spinning.
And
There's
swinging.
something to spinning and swinging that has
Yeah.
to do with progressing in their locomotive skills or in
Right.
their, and we didn't know what it was or what it was called. But as we started working through things and then we saw that article in USAG magazine, that's when we're like, oh, bingo, sensory stimulation. That must be what this is about. And now, sure enough, jumping on trampolines,
Yep.
spinning, and swinging are the ways that they calm their brains in order to be more receptive to input. So, pretty
Yeah,
cool
because
deal.
we'd laugh because like we said, I swear the kid never tripped he wouldn't fall.
He's
He'd be on
so
that
active.
trampoline scaring the
Yeah,
shit out of us, and he's like
yeah,
bouncing like it's nothing. And we're all, oh my God, he's gonna bounce right off, and he never did.
never did. Not until he was, what, 12 or however old he was, and he had a toy on his dad's trampoline in the backyard, and he landed on the toy and broke his ankle. From
Remember
that
that?
day,
Oh,
remember that? He had to
that
wear a
was
boot.
awful.
Oh, I can't even tell you what it's like, viewers, to have an autistic child with a cast. Ugh. But anyway, from that day forward, he'll jump on a trampoline, but he always has that leg up. He does not allow
Oh,
that leg to
he
land.
remembers.
He remembers
Poor
that,
Jason.
and he won't let it
Fuck
land.
this trampoline. This trampoline made my ankle hurt, bitch.
Well, next week you're going to see some footage of Wendy's son, my nephew Miguel, and
Oh,
my son together
I
in
love
the
that video
gym.
so much.
It's a really cool video, so
So
you're going to get
good.
to see that next week, and then some video of what he's doing today, so that we can wrap this autism month up with how far that boy has come.
Oh yeah. So
Well,
good.
all right. Anything else on that?
I don't think so. Nothing comes to mind.
Well, I'm
I
going to
got my
hashtag.
I got my this it's not an actual puzzle shirt, but
Oh, oh,
my good friend Trisha gave this to me a long time ago. Look at my boobs.
that's
Anyway,
cute.
so it's got this flower and then yeah, it's puzzle
Yeah.
pieces as it goes
Oh, I
away.
like that.
And
That's
even
nice.
though it's not an official autism kind of shirt, I just love it because it reminds me of it. So
Yeah, cool. We're kind of color coordinated.
I know I like your buffalo.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Are you a buff? What is it? We always hang in
A
a buffalo
bison. It's a
stance.
bison. It's a bison.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
I
don't know.
learned that
Wow, bitch, you know the difference between crow and raven and now bison and buffalo? Well, fuck you.
because I was corrected. So now I got to correct everybody else.
Let me guess, did Mike correct you?
No,
Oh,
I don't remember where I was corrected on the buffalo. It's not a buffalo, it's a bison.
okay. Whatever.
I think it was probably a documentary I was watching.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let that go then. Because when you used to tell me there was a difference between ravens and crows, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I went on YouTube. What's the difference? I'm like, that bitch was right.
I am on occasion.
I should always trust. I always trust. I
No, you
know
shouldn't
people say you
always
should.
just always check out for yourself what
I
someone
know
tells
you have
tell
taught me
you.
that. I mean, you are going to get older. It's, you might start slipping. So I can't trust you forever.
That's right.
Never trust me. I tell
Yeah.
people at work all the time. They'll ask
Oh,
me something and
go
I'm
ahead.
like, dude, don't trust me. I don't know shit.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right, so thanks for joining us,
Thank you,
friends. And
everyone.
I know that all of this autism stuff for some of you might be like, okay, that's cool, that's sweet, and but that's okay. Not all of our podcasts are going to be for everyone because we call ourselves the random podcast
Yeah, we're
because
talking about shit that's important to us.
and you never know what you're going to get other
Right.
than whatever the title says, but
Yeah. Oh, by the way, sis, I want to say too, I hope this doesn't make it too long. I'll sneak this in, but if you haven't checked it out, people check out Cheryl's working on doing her handstands. I don't
oh,
know what you posted that on was that a YouTube
it's on
short? Was it on our
TikTok. And
channel?
it is on our
TikTok?
channel, the short on our channel, but also on TikTok.
I think it says grandma tries to do a handstand or something like that.
Yeah.
I love it. Please check that out. She's on her
Yep.
journey and you're
Part
already
two.
there.
Yeah,
You were making it sound like you couldn't do shit, like you couldn't even touch the ground. You already are doing the kisser kick. It looks fantastic.
I know, but I just the dizziness and
I was
the
gonna say, yeah.
pain. So I have to build up to it before I actually attempt the handstand.
I just worry about your
So,
blood pressure because you have high blood pressure. I do too, but yours has always been high and it's higher than mine ever has been. So I do worry about that going upside down and all that. Just yeah, be careful of that. But
But
look,
when I
your form was just so good. I'm like, oh, it's still there, Cheryl. It never
can't
leaves you.
tell you how much pain I was in the next couple days,
And
though,
nobody can
just from
tell.
that.
You look like a pro, sis. I
So
learned
now
everything from you. So
I have to do the next 3 steps. So I'm working on that.
okay.
And then I've got to once I get to once I'm ready to go for the full on handstand, I may want to do it with you there
I'll come
or
hold
something.
you.
Just somebody to
Yeah.
kind of keep me from because I don't know if I could roll out without hurting myself yet.
All I all I picture is me trying to hold you up and something goes wrong, and then I hurt my back trying to hold you and you land on your
No,
head, and then we have
no,
to call the ambulance because we
because
both fucked up.
you know that I won't collapse. All I need is for somebody to keep me from going over because
I know, I'm
I
just
don't
kidding.
trust
I'm just
myself
saying, can you
rolling
imagine?
out.
I'm sorry, ma'am. How did this happen? How did you two get hurt? Was this some kind of weird sex act? No, we're sisters. We're not
Sisters,
partners.
you gross person. Uh, no, I was just trying to be 26 again. I'm sorry.
We got two 50, maybe 60-year-old people. They're trying to do gymnastics.
It didn't go well. You can imagine the scene.
Oh, the horror, the humanity.
Humanity. So once I get a little more flexible, then I'll try
Yeah,
a cartwheel. But I can do a cartwheel, but I'm not flexible enough. And the
yeah,
last time I tried one, I pulled every muscle in my whole freaking
dude.
body.
See, mine isn't that so much because yeah, I have been working on flexibility all this time, but because of the disc, it scares the shit out of me every time
Oh
I
yeah,
do
yeah,
one for the
yeah.
kids. I squeeze my muscles so hard trying to control it to not let it loosely go over because, and I do a little tiny one, but this kid, the fucking little kid the other day goes, "Can you do a cartwheel?" And the parents are sitting there and I'm all, fuck it. I go, "Yeah, I can do a cartwheel." So I
Challenging.
just did it and I'm like, oh God, nothing happened. Thank you. Thank you. Nothing happened and it looks
Yeah.
good. And everybody's like, oh, and I'm all, thank you. Yes, thank you. But I was like, whoa, that was a chance you just took. What if your back would have wrenched and you would have been laying
Right?
there going, oh my back,
Oh no. My back, my
in
back.
front of all the kids and parents? I would, that would have been
Yikes.
the day Wendy was through teaching gymnastics out of
Yes.
vanity and embarrassment. Hey, but make sure you're only doing the steps. Don't try to, I'm going to go to the next step because I got to make this video. If you're at
No,
step 2 for 3 weeks, then you damn it post
I
step
know.
2 for
I
3
know.
weeks, Cheryl.
And that's right now that's where I am. I got to build up my strength
Yeah.
and
It
I've
looks
got to
good though.
get my balance, my vestibular system, you
Yeah.
know, in sync here. So once I'm comfortable doing it over and over and I'm not in pain or not feeling dizzy, then I can move on.
Yeah. It
So,
looks good.
well, our journey isn't our journey is unique only because it's us, but there are so
Right.
many stories out there
Oh
and
my
we'd
gosh.
love to hear from any of you parents or relatives of uh you know people in the autism world.
Yes, because if email us at grandmasnotright@gmail.com. You can email us your stories and then we can talk about those. That'd
Yeah,
be great. Anybody that's even family that's listening, I know some of you listen. If you have your own stories and send us a story that you are okay with us, even if you want to do it word for word or you want to just make a suggestion. And that way we can have something else, another opinion, another story, another view on
yeah,
our situation.
we did get a couple comments from last week's. Um,
I didn't know that.
we did. We got one from, and I don't have it pulled up to read it word by word for word,
Okay.
but they both had basically the same thing to say. Maud commented that she this was her favorite episode so far, and that she's
Oh,
learning so much about autism and about things that she doesn't know because she's not around Jason all the time. So
okay.
it's good to understand more about him and
Oh,
especially his
nice.
speech development and so on.
Okay.
So
All
that
right.
was nice. It was nice to hear that comment. Thank you very much,
Thank
Maud,
you.
Mommy. Um, And then Kristen commented, not on YouTube, but she commented on another social media platform.
Okay.
Again, that this is her was one of her favorites because,
Oh,
it just brought back so many memories. And
oh, that's
so last
nice.
week, yeah, we had
Thank
quite a
you
few
for
comments.
commenting. Yes,
Yes,
thank
thank you
you.
very much. And we have a lot of on our social media, we get a lot of feedback and likes and comments. And
And
you
we
know,
appreciate that.
other sister Miranda commented on social media, and
That's
so
good.
we know family is watching, and we appreciate all of you. And
Of course.
I do get feedback from people on social media about the videos, especially these with the autism subject. Um, so thank you to everyone who has been
Thank
commenting.
you.
If you comment it on YouTube on this actual channel, then um, we can highlight them and share them. And uh, you know, it's nice to interact with you. So thank you very much for
Right.
that.
Yes. Like and subscribe and
Yep.
share us with
Yep.
everybody.
Now, obviously, we don't do, not everything's going to be about autism, but because we have autism, ADHD, and other, and then we separate from those neurodiverse uh, conditions or wiring types. Um, we also have other, uh, I want to call mental health challenges in our
Yes.
family that we deal with too. So we'll talk about a variety of things for athletes, musicians. There's so many things to talk about. And so it is random.
It's
So when you
random.
share, make sure people know it's random. You
Random.
never know what you're going to get.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye bye.